Hey, joyful wife. So this video may challenge you a bit, and I know I've said that before, but just keep offense low because I'm not trying to offend anyone. We're going to talk about the difference between emotional childhood and emotional adulthood. And there's really not another way that I know how to label that. I just feel like a lot of us are stuck in emotional childhood because we're never taught how to deal with our feelings. And I'm guessing that most of you are going to realize that you've been living in emotional childhood for most of your marriage. Don't worry, we all have. I was so guilty of this, and I catch myself at times where I'm feeling offended or defensive. I have to remember that my husband's not making me feel a certain way. I'm making myself feel a certain way. But it's time for us to show up in a different way. So here's what emotional childhood sounds like. He makes me so angry. He makes me feel unloved. He makes me feel like I am not enough. I can't be happy until he changes. It's his fault that I feel this way. If he would just fill in the blank, then I could just fill in the blank. Do you see the pattern? In emotional childhood, other people are responsible for how we feel. Your emotional state is dependent on what other people do. The problem with emotional childhood is we're giving away all of our responsibility, all of our power to show up in the way that we want. We're becoming a victim of other people, and we're stuck waiting for someone else to change so we can feel better. So this goes outside of marriage. This is in all relationships. And what happens if they never change? Then what? Are we supposed to stay miserable forever? Now, let's talk about emotional adulthood. Here's what it sounds like. I create anger when I think he should behave differently. I feel unloved when I think he's not showing love the way that I want. I feel not enough when I believe I need to be validated. I can be happy regardless of his behavior. I'm responsible for how I feel. I can do ... fill in the blank, whether he does fill in the blank or not. Do you see the difference? In emotional adulthood, I am responsible for how I feel. My emotional state is created by my own thoughts, not by how people behave in life. And I know that might feel heavy at first. And you might be thinking, wait, so you're saying it's my fault I feel bad? I'm saying no, but it's your responsibility. And actually, that is probably the best news ever because it means you don't need someone to change so you feel better. You have the power to feel how you want no matter what happens, and you can feel loved, valued, and enough right in this moment. So let me show you what that looks like. Emotional adulthood looks like in marriage. Emotional childhood says, he makes me feel taken for granted because he doesn't help around the house. Emotional adulthood says, I feel taken for granted when I think he should help more or that I do everything. That's my thought creating that feeling. I can ask for help clearly, or I can change my thought about what help looks like, or I can find alternative ways to get help. Another example, emotional childhood says, I can't be intimate with him when he's been on his phone all evening. He makes me not want to. Emotional adulthood says, I create distance when I think his phone time means he doesn't want me. I can choose to connect with him anyway, or I can make a request about phone free time. The shift from emotional childhood to emotional adulthood is this. You have to stop asking, why is he making me feel this way? And you have to start asking, what am I thinking that's creating this feeling? And emotional childhood, everything is about him or another person, their behavior, their choices, their mood. And emotional adulthood, it's about you, your thoughts, your feelings, your choices. And ironically, when you stop making it about the other person and start making it about you, that's when marriage transformation can happen. So here's the practice. Every time you catch yourself thinking, he's making me feel insert feeling, just stop and rephrase it. I created the feeling of, and insert that feeling when I thought, and then insert the thought that you were thinking. That is taking responsibility. That is emotional adult. Now in our group, there's the worksheet emotional adulthood assessment. Write down everywhere where you're blaming your husband for how you feel. Then rewrite each one in emotional adulthood. Growing up emotionally is hard work. And as you can see, our world is full of adults who would never grow up emotionally. But it's the only way to truly be free. Free from needing him to change, free from feeling like a victim, free to create the experience you want in your marriage and life.